welcome back to Local Butta, the Oxford music sessions here at the Oxford Hotel, downtown Bend. I'm here with Bill Valenti. Bill, you've been increasingly writing a lot of songs over the past couple of years. You've really ramped up since you've moved here to Bend.
Well, in fact, I'd never written a song before I moved to Bend 2 years ago.
So tell us a little bit about what brought you here to Bend and why the lifestyle appealed to you and how you ended up here.
Well, I'd spent previous 17 years in Seattle doing a string of 7 startup technology companies, on the treadmill doing that. And I decided to just step off the treadmill and move to some place that had a little bit more sunshine in the sky, and picked Bend, and we moved to Bend just a little bit over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I decided not just to get off the treadmill from startup companies, but also kind of reinvent myself, and I decided to start writing songs. And I've written about 32 songs in the last couple of years.
And the songs are uniquely Bill, I would say, and by that I mean they're probably traditional in what the sense of folk is, and that you're really writing about things that matter and to you and hopefully to other people.
Right. Well, I mean, my influence in music was from the 60s and the protest songwriters in the 60s when I was a college student. Yeah, I'm that old. And so in many ways I'm trying to revitalize what I think is missing in the current music scene, which is real hard-hitting political and social protest songs.
Right.
And I kind of approach my songwriting as kind of like a blogger. I'm looking for things that are absurd and ridiculous and outrageous. And
there's a lot of that out there.
Instead of, well, in addition to blogging about them, I think it's a very, very powerful medium to get a message across, just to write a song about it. So some of the stuff I write about are ridiculous social foibles, and a lot of stuff about politicians and Wall Street banksters. Yeah. I almost said bankers, but I mean banksters. And a lot about just the idiotic things that people do in day-to-day life that strike me as being kind of.
So you've been on that treadmill, that entrepreneurial ship treadmill in 7 startups. Successful, non-successful, different levels of success. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You've obviously worked with a lot of banksters. and so
I was a bankster for 20 years in Asia before I moved to Seattle. So I've spent a lot of time.
So you've worn the suit, so to speak.
I used to have all the pinstripe suits and the braces, and the white collar shirts and the blue. I had all that stuff. Yeah, cufflinks. Yeah.
So you're comfortable stepping into their shoes and writing about that lifestyle.
Well, it's kind of know your enemy, I suppose.
Right.
I mean, I was a banker when it used to be an honorable profession. My apologies to all my banker friends, but I think what it has become is not what it used to be.
So one of the songs that you're going to play for us, hopefully here, is a song that you wrote about the recent political scene in John Day.
Yeah, I mean, I call my songs kind of topical rants, and I like the idea of a song that I can put together very, very quickly about something that's very current in the news, and something that has a short shelf life, because I go on to the next thing, the next outrage in the news, and I pick that up. I just mentioned before we started that I'm working on a song now about the standoff between the gun rights advocates and Starbucks, where people are going into Starbucks in big groups with open carry weapons.
Now, is Ted Nugent a part of that?
I don't think he is.
Motor City Madman, my hometown.
I don't know if he is, but I think it's kind of a really, really, it's one of these wonderful intersections between 2 extremes of the American culture, and it's been really, really interesting to watch it. And I'm writing a kind of a sarcastic, cynical, satirical.
So you're kind of a cross between Weird Al Yankovic and Jon Stewart?
Yeah, you might say that. I mean, I think throughout human history...
Weird Al Yankovic.
But, I think it's pretty true that throughout human history, the songs have been used to convey information, to inspire people, to incite people to violence and all kinds of things, and it's a very, very powerful medium. And I think it's for me, it's a very interesting way to express an opinion about something that's happening in the news that I think is worthy of note. And that event in John Day in February was one that really caught my attention. This was the attempt by quite open attempt by the Aryan Nation's self-proclaimed leader to establish a new national headquarters in John Day. So he walked into town, went to the editor of the local newspaper and said, I'm here to buy a property and set up our new national headquarters.
Blatantly.
Yeah, nothing to hide. We're going to establish the Aryan Nation's headquarters in John Day. Well, the editor of the newspaper rallied the townspeople together, and they had a town hall meeting that was enormously overwhelmed. And they basically just said, not in my town.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty courageous and very, very rapid response by the folks in John Day. Now, I've never been to John Day. I've been reading about it quite a lot in the media in the last couple of weeks.
Just so our viewers from across the world know, John Day is east of where we are, so even further east of the Cascades here and the range, so to speak. It is a small area.
Yeah. So
but there are a lot of wide open spaces out here in Oregon.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to making a visit out there in the next week or so.
So, Aryan Nation, it always brings me back to one of my favorite movies, American History X. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Ed Norton?
Oh, I know. Well, I like Ed Norton.
Okay, so you should see that movie, and why don't you take us into song a little bit, and we'll come back and chat a little bit more about what inspired you.
Okay, well, I'll do a couple of verses of the song anyway. We'll just get it here. They slipped into Grant County, these men of evil mind. Thought they'd found a haven for their evil-thinking kind. But they missed it by a country mile when they walked into John Day. Folks out there don't cotton to the racist haters' way. We got our rights to be here, the neo-Nazis cried. We're guardians of the master race and we'll do no harm, they lied. But the local folks knew better, sweet humanity prevailed. They sent the Nazis packing and the evil plot had failed. You pushed the hate away, John Day, you pushed the hate away. Together bound you stood your ground and you pushed the hate away, John Day, you pushed the hate away. So this is obviously a fairly hard-hitting song. It's not one of my usual satirical pieces, but